Welcome you all then to game number 1 in the final round for Ganji and Slam. Afterwards, we are going to have 2 additional series with Kingstone facing Sebastian, and finally we are going to have also the Gao versus Dark, the tiebreaker, as they are currently tied for the first spot. What does 1 set 4 games mean? It means that they have won 1 set and they have won 4 games. So they have won 2 games for the set that they won, and then the sets that they lost, they won 1 game each. If that's like 3 series total, right? If it's 4 series total, then they have won 1 set. They have won 2 games in the sets that they lost. In one of the sets they didn't win a single game. If that makes sense. It's basically the amount of sets they have won and the amount of games that they have won, which are not always going to be 100% correlated. Nice. No problem. Second TC is coming out for Slam as he's playing with Cumans. This isn't close. Cumans, being the strong civilization they are on this map, will give Slam a very nice advantage. Meanwhile, for Ganji, on the other hand, he's making a play with Ethiopians here. Yeah. So far, so good. Ganji should be able to defend over here in Slam. Obviously, going for Cumans and going for economy shouldn't really be able to go for too many units if he wants to put pressure at the same time as he's going for economy, right? Good amount of units right now for Ganji compared to Slam for sure. And it should be the case once again because of the approach of Slam in this game. Yeah, there you go. Fantastic. Slam's actually getting away with a lot of damage over here. Given the fact that he was going for economy, I was not really expecting him to do too well in terms of military, but he's been able to get a lot of damage. You know, a bunch of villagers have gone down from Ganji already now. Ganji's pulling some villagers over here, and he's losing 1! This is not really what you're expecting to see from Ganji at all. There we are. Yes, sir. Slam is going to end up cleaning up the units from Ganji while still getting away with a stronger economy over here. Ganji, on the other hand, he's been saving the resources to go up to the castle age, and that's the way you want to go against Cumans. You don't want to stay in the fuel age forever because they are going to get so far ahead in economy. Instead, you want to go out to the castle age and you want to start putting pressure. In Ganji, wow, 7 minutes into the game calls a GG. I do not really expect many of these sets to be too long, except for Dark versus the Gao, because of the current results and the fact that Ganji doesn't really stand a chance over here. He's not really going to be too motivated to play, I would imagine. So yeah, we're just going to go into game number 2 right away. How about that? Let's check. So Steve was coming up already for Ganji. Once again, we are going to bring him down to the blue color, and I think that's going to keep consistency between two games. Between the previous one, there was only about 7 minutes. In this one, I think it's probably going to be the same length as a single game from a different series, probably. What was the last series important? Slam lost. So what? Is he eliminated? Well, none of these players is really eliminated. Technically, if 6 players from the qualified players to Red Bull Wall Legacy were unable to attend, these 6 players would be subbing in for them. This basically just determines the priority or your place on the waitlist, so to say, in case something were to happen to some of the qualified players for Red Bull Wall. So if we have 1 player who cannot attend to the event or 2 players who cannot attend to the event, they are going to take the number 1 player from this qualifier or the top 2 players from this qualifier and use them to sub in. But yeah, in this situation, you know, when you are kind of far away from the top of the table, you're not really going to have a strong motivation to keep on playing, because Ganji, I think if he's not 6th, he's 5th over here. So the chances of him making into the Red Bull event, they are very dim already. To be honest, it's not really very good for any of these players, even the top players, because the extra qualifier doesn't really guarantee anything. Is there any standings regarding this? Yes, you can do exclamation mark brackets. I have been keeping track of it. And you can take a look at updated results. Except for this set. We are going to update the brackets once again after the set is over. But yeah, many of these sets are not going to be of great importance. For instance, this one doesn't really determine too much. Slam is at best going to come in 3rd here. I think the only way in which he comes out 4th is if he loses this one and Kingston wins the series. So these 2 sets kind of determine the middle of the table, and then the 3rd set. So this is the first set from the 5th round. We're going to take a look at Kingston's set afterwards, and then the final set, the guy vs Dark, that's the one that's really going to decide who comes out on top. So far, both those players have gotten pretty much impeccable records with 4 series each. No problem. This is really good for Slam, though. Might end up getting a few villages down over here. You can see the Ganji's already lost 2. And Slam's getting pushed away from here, but many of those villages are actually very low HP. And if Slam brings some extra scouts around and is able to snipe the weak villagers, that's going to be a lot of extra villager picks. But oh boy, Ganji's counter push over here is so much stronger though. Let's go back a little bit over here and check this out. Yeah, that is not good. Slam does not want to take an engagement against the scouts over there with villagers. So he ends up losing a bunch of ills. And all of a sudden, the lead that he had built for himself is kind of gone. Another village is going down over here. Ganji's done a really good job with the scouts, for the most part. And then 5 villages are missing because of idle TC. Both players have gotten a lot of idle TC time. It's not looking particularly pretty for either one. We have 2 stables over here, so it's a full push in the fuel age for Ganji. Meanwhile, Slam, on the other hand, has got 2 stables as well, so it's going to be the same for both players. And this could very well be a race to the bottom. So far, a decent amount of villagers still for both players. And overall, the fact that we have the same work count over here for both is kind of remarkable, given how many extra villagers Slam lost so far. But that's also going to be because of the fishing ships he's got down south. In the corner of the map, he's been collecting fish over here. His economy's looking fine because of it. Although it seems like he's going to end up losing yet another villager over here. This isn't even the entirety of Ganji's pushes. He's got another wave of scouts coming in, and he cannot! Slam cannot garrison all the villages inside the tower, so we'll see the scouts take on the spearmen over there. We're gonna see Slam lose a lot of extra villages here to the scouts. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, the berries again. Man, Slam's does 12 villagers so far. It's got a lot of money economy. And where are they now? The scouts, actually. He's got them forward, but he's unable to do anything. We have a lot of spearmen over there for Ganji as well. So, yeah, it doesn't seem like this is probably going to keep on going much longer than this. That's yet another village going down. We still have a good amount of scouts over here for Ganji. Could potentially keep on going for a few extra picks over here. If he plays his cards right, he's going to get a few extra villages, and he does. Striking in the wood line again. Islam's economy is in shambles right now. 6 villages behind. Ganji, despite being the only player going for water economy once again. Might be the first player going out to the Castle Age. But it's not going to take too much longer for Ganji to click out to the Castle Age himself, given the huge amount of farmers he's got compared to Slam. Slam playing with the controller? Sounds about right. In all seriousness, though, it's been pretty difficult for the Canadian here, and it's looked pretty good for Ganji overall. Nice counter push. Okay. One villager goes down. He's got to be careful. Cannot get another villager over there. He's not struck the wood lane though for whatever reason. We had only weak villagers over here. I don't know why Slam didn't prioritize the wood lane instead. Yeah, he cannot do anything actually. He's going up to the Castle Age, but still we have a 6 villager lead for Ganji. Interestingly enough though, the Swedish player doesn't seem like he's gonna be interested in going up to the Castle Age anytime soon. Instead, he brings villagers forward, pushes Slam away from the wood lane, and we see Dow still production still for him, or at the very least as much as he can afford to go for it. Here come the scouts. He's got skill, bar than armor, bloodlines, and forging. So he can dive underneath the TC. Slam's reaction is good. He's bringing all the spearmen over here, but he still doesn't end up taking a bunch of villager losses. So this has been fantastic for Ganji so far this game. Yeah, and he's not going up to the Castle Age anytime soon, just going for full-on scout production. I definitely would have liked for him to either use the market to balance his economy and go for extra scouts, potentially add in a 3rd stable, or try to balance his economy by pulling villagers away from resources he's not currently utilizing. So, like, he's got so much gold. What is that going to do for him right now? He could be on 50% more scouts if he had gone for a 3rd stable, for instance, but it seems like this is still going to work out pretty well, though, for Ganji. As Castle Age is here for Slam, we're going to see some knights come out. He's got triple barracks, actually triple stable, sorry. So this is more like what I want to see from Ganji, and instead Slam's going to be the one going for it. Can this be strong enough to bring the game back for Slam? Well, I don't really think it's going to be quite as straightforward, because as long as Ganji's paying attention and he maximizes the value of his own units, so like he keeps on raiding around as well, Slam's full economy is not going to be strong enough for him to sustain knight production. So all Ganji's got to do is he's got to keep on putting pressure. And he also must just take care of the knights that Slam's been able to go for so far. And then Slam's not going to be able to keep on going for more anymore. So I still think it's 100% possible for Ganji to win this game, while still being in the Castle Age against the Castle Age player. While still being in the Field Age, sorry, against the Castle Age player. Seems like this might get overchopped. Not yet. Yeah, not yet. And the knights are coming in. And Ganji doesn't really care about the knights. He's got a bunch of spearmen over here. Yeah, and Slam cannot really take a good engagement. Plus, playing with Franks over here means that At the very least, he saves the resources he would have needed to invest otherwise into bloodlines, right? But yeah, it's still not going to be quite as good for like scout units. It was pretty rough for Slam because of it. After getting bloodlines, Ganji's units were so much stronger. And Wheelbarrow's coming in for Ganji as well. Still ahead by 15 villagers. And he needs to keep on going for more spearmen as well. Let me take a look to see how many barracks he's on. Isn't 2 barracks? I would definitely like to see, yes, a 3rd barracks probably, but honestly it seems like he's managed to get to a good amount of spearmen anyway. And once again, I guess if Slam isn't able to keep on going for knights too heavily anyway, maybe 2 barracks is going to be enough for Ganji to get a good amount of spearmen out anyway, as he's going to be able to sustain double barracks production versus Slam, who is unable to sustain double or even triple stable knight production. Notice also how Ganji is just keeping the units close to his economy as opposed to chasing the knights away. So now he reacts over here. Beautiful. And he's able to hold on against the knights just fine. Meanwhile, there is not too much over here for Slam to do himself against these scouts. And Ganji's still looking very strong with 14 scouts over here. And he's got almost enough resources to go up to the castle age. And you know what? You know what? He's going to be overchopped in a moment. That tree's got only 3 wood left. Make that 2. Make that 1. It's overchopped. It's overchopped. And Ganji was waiting for it like a vulture circling around the tree. Scouting in right now. Going to end up taking so many villages down over here. Slam does not want to fight against these units. Fully equipped scouts in the fuel age will be so much stronger compared to villagers. And yeah, that does result in a lot of villages going down. And Ganji seems like he's going to end up taking game number 2. Very least, Slam's unable to hold on over here. Well, the Knight's actually doing a good amount of damage against the scouts over here, but Slam's villager count, man, is just sad to see. 35 to 56 is already falling behind by 21 workers. 21 workers. He cannot do too much with the Knights forward. To be fair, I really feel like Ganji dropped the ball a little bit over there because unit micro was not quite as good. He needed to split his army up and attack from behind as well. Otherwise, he was kind of bottlenecked, and the Knights were able to clean out the scouts. That was not good. Regardless, though. Here we go. Sam's getting the raid going over here once again. I'm trying to. Genji's already on his way to the castle edge. As long as Ganji goes up without losing 15 villagers or so, I think it's gonna be fine. Should be fine anyway. Nice. Yeah, good defense. So Genji's gonna be fine. He'll be on 19 spearmen as well to upgrade to pikemen. So that's going to make it rougher for Sam to keep on putting pressure with knights only over here. And there we go, only 25 seconds. Ganji's still holding on to a 14 villager lead, 13 villager lead. Looking great. Stam's not going for any extra TCs or anything. Gotta love Ganji's stone walls around the tower as well. Fantastic. Man, what a great game. I'm so glad we did not skip any of these series, even if they are not making a big difference, because the games are actually pretty good. Now, can Slam take the game back though? That's the question. He's got more military units right now. 10 knights. There's the pikeman upgrade coming in for Ganji. Beautiful. Oh, and it's overchopped over here from Ganji as well. So now Slam's coming in, and guess what? This might be just good enough for him to catch up in worker count. He's getting very close. Now it's only 6 villages behind now compared to the 20 plus from a few minutes ago. And also there's a lot of idle villager time over here as well. Ganji's gonna have to send the villagers back out, but he cannot really do it. Doesn't really have any control of the center. And you know what? You know what? Slam is bringing this game back. I can't believe my eyes as I see Slam's population catching up to Ganji's. Yeah, and all the villagers going down over there. Slam still has double stable production over here, which is very strong. Yeah, and the worker efficiency for Ganji has been pretty lackluster. He's bringing it back up. To be fair, Slam's worker efficiency hasn't been the best either. But it's not bottomed out quite as hard as Ganji. I'm gonna take a look at the gather economy time so far. So it's still better for Ganji, but it's going to be by about 23 minutes, which is going to represent about 400 resources or so. It's not a huge difference, and Slam is not dead enough that Ganji will be able to easily seal the deal over here. I think Slam's definitely back into this game, which is just incredible to think of, given how the game was looking just a few minutes earlier. Now we'll see once again though, the knight's coming in. There we go. Slam should be able to defend. He's had the counter raid attempt over here not work out. Ganji starting to pull a villager lead once again though. 10 extra villagers, 12 extra villagers right now. Yeah, he's getting another vill over there. He's going to get another villager over here. Hold on. Okay. Ganji starting to capitalize on his lead once again. Starting to pull ahead even further. But it's unbelievable. And to think that Slam was almost completely catching up over here was just incredible. But Ganji's on the lead. Very much so now, once again. Good defense though for Sam. Yeah. I kind of wonder though, what is the plan over here? He doesn't really have any food income from the fishing ships anymore. See a conversion coming in for Ganji. And no extra TCs coming in for Slam at all. So if he's gonna be sticking to 1 TC over here, he won't really be able to go for much of anything else compared to Ganji, who's on 1 TC himself. Overall, pretty good. GG's finally coming in for Sam. It's been, it's been on the way for a while. So Ganji does end up taking game number 2 over here, and we are going to have a full set, but we'll jump into game number 3 after taking a look at the achievements. What do we get? If we take a look at military, that's gonna be a very nice KD in the end for Slam, who ends up getting a 5 to 4 kill ratio. Well, Ganji, on the other hand, struggles for the KD a little bit, but it did not matter too much because he was trading for pretty cheap units for the most part early on with the scouts. It was fine for him, especially after Slam was in the castle age for so much longer. Trading scouts for villagers versus knights for villagers was a little bit more cost effective for Ganji. So anyway, we'll jump into game number 3 in a moment. There we are. Let's bring Ganji down to the blue color. And we're gonna keep consistency. This was a pretty good performance for Ganji in game number 2. We'll see what we get for game number 3. Yeah, well, Slam is not particularly facing a weak player over here by any means, so a little bit of credit for Ganji as well, who played the game really well. And yeah, these guys, they can take games from each other, even if there is a few hundred elo difference between some of the participants of the third qualifier over here. It doesn't matter, eventually you play enough games and you're bound to lose a few, right? But it's been pretty rocky for Slam throughout the entire qualifier. I mean, Ganji, well, I think that was the first game that Ganji won, right? Let me take a look at the brackets, actually. Ganji... No, that was the second game that Ganji won, actually.
Ashike? Shade. Tabish? Ashike? Atut? Shade. Tabish?
Here we are. Ganji's going for archers right away. Playing with Dravidians, Slam's playing with Mayans, and we know what we get over here. Dravidians are going to get extra resources, the extra wood. Mainly. And Slam with Mayans is not really going to have too much over here. The extra villager, I guess. Longer lasting resources and the cheaper archers. But yeah, the actual extra resources from the get-go is going to be so important for Dravidians. It allows you to go for like 2 archer ranges from the get-go, right? So he's got a good amount of units coming out. And Slam's done a good job getting the units down over here. For the most part, he's been able to get 3 units while losing only 1 himself. And that's going to offset a little bit for the lower production potential that he's got by being on only 1 archer range. How about the walls? We have walls already up for Slam. And Ganji, on the other hand, he's going for the walls. I think. No, he's not going for the walls, but it shouldn't be too hard for him to wall himself up, given the generational buildings around his base. It's gonna be fine. Beautiful.
சரி உங்கள் சித்தம் Shade. Tabish.
There we go. Slam's defense is good enough. Yeah. And he's just gonna play for the castle H over here. So we won't really have too much action, just Ganji trying to put some pressure over here. Which makes sense. Once again, with Dravidians and the extra wood, going for 2 archer ranges allows you to get significantly more units out. So he's trying to breach through over here and come in. While Slam, on the other hand, well, Slam is just playing greedy over here, man. And this could be kind of rough. Ganji, if anything, has been an incredible player to punish greediness during the first 2 qualifiers of RBWL. So if he's able to get away with it this time around as well, he might end up getting the first series under his belt. While Slam, on the other hand, Slam was getting away with the Castle H over here. Using the market, he's going to be able to get enough to click up. And Ganji's not too far behind himself, so he could potentially go out to the Castle H as well. Given the fact that he's got, for the most part, skirmishers to push with, he's very unlikely to breach through the walls, and he's just gonna have to bail over here and wait until he gets to the Castle H himself before he can keep on pressure going. What I'm very curious, though, is what is Slam's strategy going to be over here? Once he gets to the Castle H with Mayans, he'll get access to Crossbowman, Bak and Arrow. Yeah. Castle H is coming up now for Ganji as well. And he'll be able to go for the same stuff. Of course, with Dravidians, he'll get a boost in economy once again by reaching the Castle H of 200 additional wood. It's going to help offset a little bit by the fact, for the fact that he's going up a little bit later too.
உங்கள் சித்தம்.
Here we go. Eagles apparently, yes. No archers. He does have 2 additional barracks, so it's going to be full eagle production.
சரி.
In Ganji with Dravidians, what is he going to have against eagles actually? Not much. Elephants? Oh boy, he's got the 3rd and 4th archer ranges coming out. Ganji!
உங்கள் சித்தம்.
Seems like he's just going to get completely clapped by eagles in the castle age. Let's check.
Tabish.
Nice.
Shot it. Tabish. சரி. Shot it.
Yeah, so it's gonna be here ready for Ganji. There we go. Bakinaro. Crossman now quits on the way. Meanwhile, Slam is already producing from 3 barracks. He's gone up to 8 Eagle Warriors. Chainmail Armor is already here, so it's gonna try and breach through. And this is very close to what we saw in one of the previous games as well. What's very important for Slam is to keep on going for as many eagles as it's seemingly possible for him to go for. Split the army up into smaller groups, go around the walls, try to breach through, and if he's able to breach just on one side, that's going to provide already an entryway for the eagles to come in fully into the economy from Ganji. And the blue player is going to keep on going for more and more crosses, which I do not really agree with, but doesn't seem like he's going to have too many choices, unfortunately. Here we go.
உங்கள் சித்தம்.
Second TC on the way for Slam. Nice. Yeah, it's fine. He keeps on going for more and more Eagle Warriors. We are getting close to 20 or so. It's going to be 70 in a moment. So we are getting close to about 20 Eagle Warriors over here. That should be enough for him to split those down into about 4 armies of 5. Go around and try to breach through, and eventually he should be able to. And Ganji's economy is already kind of inefficient. If you take a look, he's not been able to micro many of the villagers over here he's been just creating.
Shot it.
Let's take a look at this. That could be a very good mango shot. That was so close, but Ganji's reaction was fantastic. Anyway, hey Miss Click, long time no siege. Hope you're doing alright. How's it going?
உங்கள் சித்தம். என்ன கட்டளை?
Good shot. I'm really sure why he went back over there. I'm pretty sure he would have been able to get a good surround going. He's respecting the crossbowman. There's nothing about Dravidians that's going to make the crossbowman particularly strong at all. I think he maybe bailed just because the man had taken a lot of damage over there.
உங்கள் சித்தம்.
Regardless though, Paddler Archer Armors only now coming out for Ganji. Ring Archer Armors only now coming out for Ganji, for which I still think Slam should have committed to the engagement over there. If he had gotten us around, the archers wouldn't have even gotten +1/+1 at that point in time. They wouldn't have gotten Thumb Ring yet.
சித்தம். சரி. Shot it.
What's the deal with Dravidians? I don't get why they get chosen for tournaments. Well, for Empire Wars specifically, they are going to have a pretty strong start compared to before because as of the latest patch. Civilizations with starting game bonuses such as extra resources, villagers, or fewer resources or villagers are going to be impacted in Empire Wars. Before that was not the case. So Dravidians get a bonus where they get 200 additional wood upon reaching a new age, and in Empire Wars that's going to be available to them from the get-go. So it can be really strong. For instance, we saw Ganji go for the double archer ranges opening, which is very difficult for most other civilizations to go for. From the get-go, like 2 archer ranges right away. But yeah, he's been unable to make it work. In Slam Civilization over here, you know, when you get past that little bump, are going to be a much stronger civilization over here. So I don't really think Ganji's going to have too many choices over here against them at all. Yeah, it's also why we have started seeing a lot more Ethiopians and why Huns have kind of fallen out of favor as well. Because in the past, Huns were not affected by the 100 less wood that they begin with in the standard game. So they had no housing requirements, and they started with standard resources. And now that's no longer the case, so they are not used quite as much. They do begin with 100 less wood.
Shot it. City.
Kind of similar to the Chinese as well, in a sense.
Shot it. Shike.
They're extra villagers, but fewer resources.
Shike.
Yeah, and good defense for Slam. He is kind of falling behind in working count despite being on 3 TCs though. He's got a lot of idle TC time. Now he's coming in, finally trying to get the raids in. With chainmail armor and 2 mountains over here, he should have no issues. Against crossbows or even against TCs, would definitely like to see him bring the Magnus over the left hand side. Over here, sorry about that. Yeah, just bring the Magnus over here. Ideally, he wants to go for... Wow! Wow! That is... Wow! GG right there! Well, that was going for what I was thinking of. Bringing the Magnus to the back so he was going to be able to take advantage of the elevation over here. But Ganji says GG, good night. And nothing really happened over here. Slam was already on the lead in terms of score by quite a bit. And, you know, the Eagles plus the Magnus were going to take the TC down over here. And once again, Ganji was kind of stuck on crossbows. He did go for the Lone Swordsman upgrade, so he was going to have pretty decent units against the Eagle Warriors, but it was going to take some time for him to mass them up. Definitely could have kept on trying, but it's understandable. Once again, there is no motivation when you are, you know, at the bottom of the table. Let's take a look at the achievements over here really quickly before jumping into the second set of the final round of the extra qualifier. So we are in the 5th round right now. And the second set is going to take place between Kingstone and who is the other player actually? Sebastian, I think. Yes, Kingston and Sebastian. We'll take a look at it. However, for this one, we see that the KD was so much stronger for Slam, collecting about 7 to 5 KD ratio, a little higher than that actually, higher than 9 to 5. For the economy, a stronger economy for Slam as well, collecting about 700 extra resources, despite the fact that he was not on quite as many villagers. Well done anyway, let's go back.